Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the NECC Playoff Grand Finals. It's Division 1, the best of the best, as we get to crown our champion here today in best of 5 action. My name, Llama77, joined by the handsome Sino over beside me. Sino, how you doing? What can we expect for today?
Man, it's a great day when we get to watch some Rainbow Six Siege, and the best of the best get to play today in a best out of 5 fashion. That being said, we get the max amount of Siege that allows within the esports scene. And who else to watch but Akron and their counterpart? You're going to watch Kansas State as well. I mean, two teams that are superpowers. They've met before within NECC and other leagues within collegiate as well. It is going to be a great day to watch in Siege.
Yeah, this one's going to be exciting, and I think notably Akron is the big name here. They have been dominating anything and everything, and the only reason they have 2 map losses is because they went on to play a bigger tournament and had to forfeit their other game earlier in the bracket. So I think this is an exciting chance for them to bounce back, showcase what they've got, and walk away with yet another championship ring. So, I think they're running out of fingers or something to be able to put that many championship rings on.
Yeah, I think I was looking at their Wikipedia, man, and they had like like 2 second places, and other than that, they won everything. And their 2 second place matches or tournaments were all the way back in 2024 and 2023. So these players come to impress, and that's exactly why they are playing at that tier 2 level. Unfortunately, they have been eliminated out of Element 6, but still, they've got to the playoffs, and they went the distance in the playoffs as well. So they are no team that you take lightly, and I feel like Kansas State needs to know this if they want to approach this game with the highest ability to take it to either the 4th or the 5th, or maybe just end it out in 3 maps. But in the meantime, we should probably introduce the players for the day. You have Plexios, Aimkey, Silo, Space, and Kosa on the side of Akron. And on the flip side of the coin, you'll have Stringman, Dracon, Frank, Uni, and Worm.
10 very notable names, and we've also got our maps actually ready to go. We mentioned that forfeit earlier in the bracket for Akron. That means they are the number 2 seed, technically the aways team going in towards this playoff grand final. While on the other side, Kansas State, they get the number 1 seed, or they get the home advantage, and they get to pick first. So we'll start on Chalet, we'll head to Lair, Bank, Nighthaven, and then Consulate. Anything that sticks out to you?
I am very surprised that KSU actually picked into Bank, considering their most frequent losses on their previous head-to-heads, whether you're looking at NECC, their previous in the Nationals, which was back in May, if I'm not mistaken, or Season 11 of CR6, their most lost map is Bank. They lost it once to Utah and once to Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken. And in the Grand Finals previously in May for this same league in their Nationals, they also lost 3-0 to Akron. So picking into this map is a little bit confusing to me, but that is if we go to that full mile. I mean, you can only end this series out in the minimum of 3 maps, and the maximum is 5. So it's also going to be a game of endurance. So we can also worry about the venues, but also you have to see which team is going to hold out and who is more prepared for the other.
Absolutely, and I think playing each other somewhat in the past does give each team some sort of ideas of how or what they're going to play, and especially for Akron, because you don't necessarily have your map picks going to your start, you have to be on top of it. We're starting our way into map number 1, but beforehand, if you guys are watching this stream and you guys are gamers at home, your eyes are taking a beating every single day, but don't worry, Buy Blue Light has you covered. Premium blue light glasses keep you sharp, focused, and ready for victory without all of the eye strain. It is the official eye care partner of the NECC, and you can check them out today at byebluelight.com. With that aside, let's get in to bans.
You know, before we get into the bands, I might have to throw my glasses out and get me a pair. Mine don't even work anymore. So, you know what? Might be a worthy investment, especially when you're watching so much Siege. But the first 2 bands of the game will line on in, and the rest won't come in until the 3rd round of the attacking campaign for Kansas State. Taking care of Mira and Bandit, quite textbook. But for Akron, taking care of that ace alongside with the Capitão makes sense if they're trying to clear out the players such as in offices or library. But I'm a little concerned to how aggressive they're going to be playing against the KSU who seems to be waiting to take care of all of that utility first before they hit the gaps on tackle.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Like they've got a really good composition selection, and just as a phonetics note, Yao Ming is actually Stringman, so if you hear us mention that today, chose to go with a different name. But for Kansas State, they'll start on the attacking side. Akron starting on defense. Of course, Akron got to pick, and they chose defense, and funny enough, Sino, all 5 teams for today's 5 maps chose defense to start out.
I mean, kind of common considering most of all of the maps in the game are defender-sided, with the exceptions of maps like Cafe, which sadly we don't get to see. I would have liked to see how the teams that prefer defense would start out on a map like Cafe and how they would approach the entrance into the building or denying the entrance into the building, but I am very, very interested to see how Kansas are going to be playing with the addition of this Thatcher. If you guys missed the update, which is kind of hard to, the newer season allows Thatcher to have a rocket launcher of an EMP and can basically shoot projectiles out the sky, which includes C4s, and it can also shut down utility that is electrified with a longer range and for a longer time as well. So I'm interested to see how these players are going to utilize him today, considering he can't be banned.
Very true. I mean, that's a lot of range and additional utility that you can add to the entirety of the kit for Frank and the rest of the KSU team. They've already started some of their information gathering, and I'm excited to see what they do in terms of that information. We'll see if they go for a breakdown of this wall. For Akron, they are ones just playing it slow. They've got this castle. They can play off of those walls as a minute's off the clock.
Costa looking to get aggressive here onto that slant window, trying to find anybody that sits close, especially that Aura. Would it be a big pick to be able to cut that player off who can establish a cross? And with the addition of the pressure starting to amount from that solar side as well, Frank on that big window to factor in all of this external pressure. Kansas State are trying to get a grasp on this site, and Akron desperately want to get a first pick. They successfully will, but it'll get traded out very fast as they'll hit that go button, but Silo's here for the next, as he'll get a second, will double down, and Kansas State go down 1 body.
-1 scenario here. Yao Ming taken down to 2/3 as well. There goes the Nitros. Big boom. No damage. We'll stay in the corner, and the shield will get frosted away. It's Plexios that takes a headshot on the cross-map look, and now it's just the shield man basically trapped in their own right. A nade and nothing. It's a triple kill from space, and Drakon will be the only one left to try and fight this.
Keep in mind, this is the site. It's on the first floor, meaning Kansas fell all on the first stage. Now, Drakon using his ability to try to hit that gap into 45, but if I'm not mistaken, he has just went down, tried to fly in, nothing goes his way, and Kansas State have been completely destroyed in that first round.
Apologies about that. We'll get that looked at in just a second, but as you mentioned, Kansas State try and go heavy in. They try and utilize the shield, but a little bit discoordinated there as it is Space that steps up, earns a triple kill in round number 1. And again, as you mentioned, a lot of these maps more defender-sided, but for Akron, a really good start, especially, you know, after you forfeit that last matchup, trying to build up some momentum here to the grand finals, this is the perfect way to start it.
And also, you have to keep in mind, this is a Tier 2 caliber team that are coming out that gate swinging whether you like it or not. And that is why, in that first round, you saw what happened. Kosa tried to get aggressive on big window. He lost his life, but guess what? Silo hits back 2 times harder. And I feel like this is what makes this team so differently. Everybody on this Akron roster is able to isolate the ones and play support at the same time. So there's never a hard assigned role when you're down in bodies. Everybody on that team is going to work together to try to either get a refrag, build up a lead, or just sit in a corner and waste out the time of Kansas State. And I feel like that was evident in that first round.
Absolutely. I mean, the roles are very fluid, and then you also talk about an Akron team that has such great game sense that if they sniff that you're maybe struggling or trying to back off a little bit, they always seem to take advantage, trying to play resurgence around that shield and trying to get a refrag. It was already too late after Akron retake all of that space, especially on the different floors here. So that's going to be interesting to watch as well, how Kansas State adapts mid-round when you don't necessarily have your coach in your ear.
Yeah, I'm quite interested to see what they'll be able to do. I feel like Akron does have their coach standing on the sidelines today. If it's Soup, I think it's Soup, on the sidelines today, guiding them. So we know if it ever gets too out of hand for Akron, they'll call that timeout and get that 6th opinion from somebody who isn't playing in the server, for somebody who's just watching and giving them their advice because they play in a facility. They're all ready to be able to talk to each other. They're frequently playing on a LAN environment or a pseudo-LAN environment because there's no other teams there, but with the way they play, with the way they know how to approach the building, you can only imagine on their opponent's map pick, they're going to try to come up that gate swinging and establish a halftime lead of either 4-2, 3-all, or maybe even a 5-1 if they can go that full mile to keep Kansas State at bay. They don't want that momentum going up against them because once you allow that snowball effect to happen on the preferred side of said map, once those sides flip and the home turf gets their side, it just doesn't look good and it's basically on to the next when it's lost.
Well, it looks like we are having some just issues getting this first map going, so we are going to get a little bit... no, we're going to stay right here with you guys. We're going to stay with this first map, so getting things all settled out on the back end, and Sino, you mentioned some momentum that they were pushing towards all the follow-up. It's going to be exciting to see what they can do in round number 2.
You know, I kind of was expecting a break, but, you know, luckily to our absolute resilient prod, you got Rennie and TTL on the broadcast helping us out. It's going to be so fun to be able to just get this on the board and get it right back in. So previously we saw Dracon try to deactivate that Banshee, which he did, and then fly in through 45 to try to hit a gap, considering all of the Akron players were upstairs, but they realized there was no activity going on that second floor, so 2 of them flew down solar. The other came down blue and essentially just created a 3-way pinch with that hatch broken as well. A 3-way pinch completely destroying any form of a comeback for Kansas State. So we'll head on to the second mid-floor site, which will be Bar, and let's see how they'll play it out here with no Mira.
Mira, of course, banned in that first set by Kansas State, who didn't really want to deal with it, and I wouldn't either, especially some of those angles you can build up. Love to see those one-ways for Akron. We'll see what this kind of pseudo timeout does for them. If they can continue the momentum here into round number 2. I love the early breaks from Silo here, who is going to have a ton of potential to try and rip things through, not only with the wall breaks, but you've also got the Azami barriers to work with right on top of those glass cases. So much plays to be made. I mean, Silo was a little bit quiet just because Space was stealing all the kills in that first round, so we'll see how it goes.
Now it doesn't look like they're going to get too aggressive. Space just wants to set up his black guy, but is going to be forced into an unholy amount of pressure this early into the game. Less than 30 seconds, he has to deal with their spear entry behind 3 operators. Everybody hungry to get their chunk of the pie, but Space opens it up, takes care of Yao Ming. That's what I'm going to refer to him as. That's a crazy, funny name that I actually want to considerably say. But you'll get the first, and now looking to find the next 2 objectives. Doesn't look like Kansas State are going to try to get aggressive, but you guys are going to continue to walk into his crosshairs. 1 and 2, can't find the third. Uni shuts him down, but still, Akron walk out of it with a body ahead.
I mean, Space is 5 kills in just the first 2 rounds here, especially after the rehost. You love to see the momentum build back that way. Gonna be interesting for Kosa, who's holding low. For Worm, Dracon, and Uni, they're the ones that have to do it. Down a member here, and especially for Plexios, that Azami, you have movability here. You can sit on the barrier, you can wait for Worm to try and jump in that window and just delay time. That's your ideal scenario right now.
Yeah, they're waiting for that cross in from slant, but nobody's on there. There you go, Dracon gets on it. There's no shield to deal with. You're going to have to imagine that it's sitting top blue, maybe near that Ivy side as well, but there's so many issues that Kansas State are going to have to deal with no flank watch, no Blackbeard on the board, and with the aggression, it kind of allows Akron to go out on a limb and just start swinging whatever moves, because if they die, or one of them at least dies, they will have that lifeline of just having a 3-on-3. Currently, their uppermost floor defense hasn't been broken, and they're building up a large margin. But Uni says no, he'll get a second kill of the round, take care of aim key. The slant player has rotated off, and it looks like they're now going to be hitting that double while Ying fires those Candelas into Mez and Library.
This could be the chance to break everything open. I mean, this is a 3v3. Everybody full health on either side is the concerning part, and Kansas State has trickled below the 60-second marker left on the clock. The big old launcher available here, and Dracon looking behind him, trying to get a long-range look on the left-sided peak. The problem is Plexios, who has this minorly adjacent position to where they're at, and Silo's ready to go. I mean, this is 30 seconds left to go. Kansas State has to make a choice.
30 seconds left on the clock. Absolutely nothing to do but swing and ask questions later. But the thing is, you don't have the intel to act off of, so you're going to get punished by players like Kosa, but he'll get instantly refragged off. Uni is on a heater right now, but the double C4 from below. Kosa, a triple kill to shut them all out. Not a chance stood, and that's that second round for Akron. That was very well needed.
Momentum there, and even more beautiful seeing that replay. Shout out our amazing production team on that one, getting the wide view, the perfect angle for Kosa, who had every single scenario covered, even though the two teammates fall there later in the round, is set up with the intel themselves. So Akron setting up here for round 3, and a chance to go up 3-0 here. This, I feel like, is where Kansas State needs to answer. Again, this is their map pick to start off the best-of-5 series.
You know why I always love casting Akron? I've only done it a handful of times, but it's always funny to me how usually in other collegiate games, we just see both teams going at it. They're both trying to get into each other's head by trying to mental chalk or just getting all rude to make sure nobody has the confidence to continue doing what they're doing. Akron takes the other approach. They just kind of go the complete other way and decide to kill him with kindness. Sometimes that just works because, as you can see, mental chalking has nothing to do with their gameplay. It's more the coordination and how they play. The multi-layered defenses also help them get far, and that's why they've claimed 2 rounds in the first 2.
And I feel like that's even more scarier as a player on the other side. You're
100%.
like, why are they having fun, man? We're in the finals of Division 1, and boy, they're having fun, but it's definitely a stressful round number 3 for Kansas State, trying to go low here. They're going to send Drakon plus 1 more with a possible 2v1 on this low side. The intel, not perfect here, as they don't really see anybody until they rotate in. So now Akron knows they're seen, which is maybe even a little bit more powerful than being seen on the other end.
Yeah, and with Plex on that roam, when you grab a Scopus and not a Vigil, you're essentially given 2 health bars, 2 magazines, and a complete reset with that robot as long as it doesn't get shot. But that's not even who you're going to need, because an Alibi and Kosa on the picks are going to be able to dismantle the trench and blue pressure within the first minute. Kansas State are trying to hit a gap that just doesn't exist. No breach is opened. They'll pay that price, and yet again, for the second time in a row, they're going to be playing the remainder of the round in a 2-man deficit with the verticality established. They get 3.
An incredible side peek, and another little breakdown here.
It's when the Thatcher dies. It's when the Thatcher dies, I think. I feel like that is a glitch that is happening with the new season. I think it's when Thatcher dies, the game crashes.
That's, I think, just in general.
Yeah, happens in rank 2.
Weirdest thing ever, but you know what? Bugs do happen, and we can go back and talk about that second round for Akron. Really, really decisive, I think, not only from Kosa to clean that up on the double C4 to end things off, but also the rest of the team. You transition that into the start of round number 3. They're just built like a Division 1 O-line on a football team, ready to go here, not let anything in to touch their quarterback. And it feels like, again, the game knowledge is there, but every single time they add in a little bit of spice of speed to throw their opponents off guard.
Man, I'm telling you, the aggression is just out of this world. They start the round off aggressive and nice, and they finish off the round just aggressive. You're seeing the players aren't scared to isolate. Kosa with the first kill, and I'm pretty sure the last kill before the game imploded, we didn't really see if the Thatcher died or not, but I'm pretty sure he did because that would trigger the game crash. But yeah, there you go. As we're getting confirmation for Prod, he did die. So Kosa opening it up and closing it down. And with operators not too important like Alibi on the board finding the second pick, it's just chaos all over. You're being able to find these kills that shouldn't exist. And Kansas State have yet to find a timeout or find the approach to try to address this team. So the next steps, call that timeout, get that mental reset, start acting on the behalf of a team who wants to bring it back to come onto their half and swing it out the park and win on their own half.
Yeah, I mean, the better news, I guess, for better or for worse, is you have had a couple of these pseudo timeouts with the crashes. So maybe you can talk about that as a team, be able to build a plan to go forward. But at the same time, if I'm a player and I'm taking those breaks just like a minute long in between every single round, that's going to slow me down. That's not going to get me warm. And if I've already lost 2 rounds, all of a sudden that's just going to snowball out of control. At least from my point of view. What's your thoughts?
100%. If you get cold hands in Siege, it's absolutely done for. I mean, It happens with tier 2 players, it happens with collegiate players, but with collegiate players, when there's game days, like Swiss, you guys play games back to back. And I feel like teams in collegiate get better for the longer amounts of time that they play. So that's why the best of 5 is the perfect testament of endurance. But as of now, with consistent breaks in the middle, whether they're real timeouts or pseudo timeouts, you guys are going to get cold hands eventually. And that can go for both teams. So I am excited to see what's going to happen and when. But if there's no more final remarks on your side, let's not get burnt out. Let's let the viewers go grab a cup of water and some new refreshments, and we'll be back after a swift break. Hey guys, did you guys miss our voices? Because guess what, we're back. We bring to you the fourth round. You guys missed absolutely no action. Our quick thinking from all of the guys behind on prod, the guys and gals, have gotten us into the game, and we will now head on to the final and third bans for either side. It's been completely dominated. Any thoughts, Llama?
No, I mean, I think Akron has had a lot of different answers. I love the Azami van from KSU. I think that for Akron, they have played off of those Azami barriers really well. It has given them so many dicing angles. And now for Kansas State, although you've gotten the ban you wanted, you need to find answers. This is the round where if you lose, this half could get out of hand. And, you know, a 4-2 would be okay at the switch. But if you get anything worse than that, or even a 4-2 and aren't able to capitalize, I mean, you and I both know Akron is so good about using a lead and winning.
Yeah, you rarely see them throw a lead at the tier 2 level. What do you think happens at this level? They have to be able to either call a timeout or actually, no, I take that back because there's already been so many pseudo timeouts that I feel like only a timeout would do more harm at this point in the game. So what they have to do is just go into the next round, heads held as high as they possibly can, and not lose the second cycle of defense because Akron has cycled through the main sites and have not dropped one quite yet. This is the round that is going to dictate whether we're going to be seeing a 3-3 split or if Akron's just going to dominate the remainder of the game.
Tend to agree, and I don't hate the composition either. Bringing the Lion, bringing the Thermite, and I think Worm is going to be important to stay alive with that breachable utility. For Akron, they have just got some roamers, they've got the castle, they can really seclude different parts of this map altogether, and especially with a lower bomb site, they can play from top down if they really want to. For Dracan is entering and is down near the snowmobile.
Off of that Thatcher roll, it's going to be cycled throughout the team here, so he'll be on that flank watch, and honestly, acting as the human drone here is going to work in the benefits of Kansas State because by just being able to park out down here, anybody that crosses is going to be looking for the drones and maybe the air jabs, but are you really going to be waiting for a human body tucked out in stock? Maybe not anymore because he's going to, you know, walk upstairs, but now there's another objective at hand. You guys need to be able to clear out piano and offices without losing majority of your bodies. Last time we watched the site, everybody died upstairs.
And everybody's been dying. For KSU, they've yet to get a round win in their favor. And still a 5v5 is good scenario. But for Space has got the information to swing this with Kosa, two of the most deadly players on this team. And that's saying a lot for how deadly all five of them are together. For Worm, staying alive is huge. Early bullets go to Silo, who will look down low and take down Worm.
It'll be a little bit harder for us to be able to capitalize or really analyze how the numbers are looking for each and every single player because of the two rehosts we've had. But as of now, these players, rehost or not, stats or not, we know are just performing amazing. Silo being one of those key names, alongside with Kosa, have been holding this team as just a duo. They haven't been penetrating the site far enough to be able to find any more players than these two. Silo is just going nuclear. He finds 3 kills before he's finally stopped, given that second chance at life, but Yao Ming finally gives him that dagger to finish him off, but still, less than a minute left, 2 bodies left for Kansas State, and they still haven't dissected the uppermost floor.
And that was a triple kill. There's no way they can enter here if they don't play off each other. And Plexios working off a solo. Kosa gets the final, and Akron demolishing again.
I don't even know what to say at this point. I mean, my predictions, my money was on Akron for the first map, because they usually do tend to lose later, sometimes against tier 2 teams. Maybe my thinking is flawed, but Kansas State, they've yet to try a different approach. Usually when there's such a large margin, you see teams try to turn off their brains and swing whatever moves, run into the building, try a rush, do whatever they can to try to catch Akron on that back heel. But currently, that's just not the case. Nothing we see is pointing towards a change of pace or a change of playbook to be able to try and get around on these players. We were talking about the unlikely scenario of a 5-1 or a 6-0, and it looks like Kansas State are just trying to prove us right.
I mean, they're not changing anything. I think for Worm playing pretty much the similar role, Worm has been going down very early into these rounds, and losing that Thermite literally first in that last round was so costly, where they're trying to play this slow pace, but the slow pace just doesn't work when you don't have the members for the late game rounds. For Akron, they're going to run the exact same thing, because why not? Plexios and Space will switch things up just a little bit, but the Valkyrie gives them so much information and allows Silo to be this rotator after knocking in a triple kill in that last round.
Looks like they just, again, are going to go for an identical play to what they did when it was this site previously. This time, though, luckily for them, they don't have to deal with Space. They don't have to deal with 2 quick headshots to force a 5v3, but you're going to have Space below. I don't see how this is any better. He'll make a decision. Wrong one at that. A millisecond off is going to spare Dracon's life, as everybody now knows there's a Valk on the board, and now he's below, so there's no other option except for to rotate back into sight to keep your body and your presence alive.
Those is going to be sticking around, has already been deadly with some of those big C4s. Had a double kill to open things off. Akron still saying 5 charge, but Yao Ming will get relatively deep in towards the area. So Akron now has to be a little bit careful across the crosser for aim key. A little bit of damage done, and Plexios finds Uni. Again, they take down these early kills, and it feels like Akron just winning their ones. A quick trade, Plexios makes it a double. It is beautiful from Akron as they've got all the control in the world.
Feels like a broken record player at this point. It's just a repeat of the same thing, distorted sometimes, a different story, but eventually will always result in the same ending, and that is Akron domination. Kansas State have yet to penetrate to be able to get onto that site and try to put that bomb down, and it's usually due to just an individual performance. Are you serious? How are we allowing that shot to be hit? The whole team's been massacred. Akron are floating, and not a single round has been won by Kansas State.
Plexios goes crazy there. And especially, you mentioned it, with the SMG, you've got to be cutting down that angle, either from further away or you need to get trades. Kansas State are just throwing bodies at a problem that never existed at the start of the round. And Akron has mopped the floor right now. 5-0, their lead here in map number 1. And again, as a reminder, Akron had to forfeit that previous matchup before getting into this one. So they are technically the away team. This is not even their map pick, and they're doing this on. I am scared for Kansas State if they cannot get this round.
It is such an interesting game. I don't even know where to start at this point. This basement site is usually frowned upon when it comes to Chalet due to the amount of verticality that can be established, but with recent days, with recent updates and balancing changes, it's become a little bit more preferred. But I don't think I've ever casted a game where basement is the last defensive round for a team, and that team has 5 rounds of perfect defense, which means they can complete a perfect cycle if they win this one as well here. Now aim key, given a second chance at life as Worm doesn't shoot fast enough, and the aggression seems to only be amounting for Akron onto Kansas.
Worm is so huge here, but so is Dracon. I mean, you talk about that RAM, if you can get it in one of these higher floors, work from top to bottom, that could play towards their play style. Aimkey's going to go back up to the hatch here and blow it wide open. That gives them even more versatility. Dracon is going to launch one of the Rams straight on through and give themselves a little bit more vision. The question is going to be, what is to follow? Kansas State spending a lot of time outside here just trying to find their way in.
Akron staying true to opening up BO5s with a 1-7 win, or a 7-1 win in their case here. Now, they came out with a bang on the previous weekend against Fisher Esports, and considerably Fisher Esports is one of the strongest teams in Collegiate Siege. Kansas State should have watched back that VOD and realized that aggression is only going to amount if you don't switch up the playstyle, because Fisher tried the same thing. They tried to force something that didn't exist, and they paid that price. But so far, this has been the best round so far for Kansas. They're at that 90-second mark, and it's all tied up 4-4.
See if they want to activate the Ram. I love Space's position here. So many ways to look, though. You can get overrun pretty quickly, and that's going to move them down the stairs. Everybody going to retreat to the site for Akron, as they're okay with Kansas State playing top to bottom. Now they know that they're on the top floor. However, it means that Dracon will start their walk. If they can get downstairs, that could open up what exactly they need to attack the site.
Just a minute left, and we've seen how Kansas State likes to play their time. They play it close to the vest, and once they see that one opportunity, they'll hit that gap until there's nothing left. You already see Uni thinking about it. No C4 this time to come on up, but still, there's a floor to unlock. You guys have now just only unlocked that first floor. Now you need to start establishing verticality with one boogie drone, and you need to be able to approach this site. You need to be able to get here faster. You need to be able to open up this bridge because you're still looking to open it up regardless of how many exothermics Thermite has. Can't get that Electric Claw off, and you guys are going to pay the price.
Even with the verticality, you're down to 30 seconds left to go. I really worry about the crossfire that Akron has set up here. And sure, you've got vision. Plexios is too worried about a drone and will finally take it out. Space on the other side of them. They have got the crunch here of a century. 15 seconds to go. You're probably just going to gamble on the hatch drop. It may seem like at this point. Now down to single digits. Kosa dies. Frank on the entry. Uni gets a double. And it's a beautiful takedown from space.
Oh
Can they deny the diffuser? Yes, they can. A triple kill from Uni will not matter. Akron is undeniable.
Are you serious? To allow a man to run out into blue with the breach open, with the connector hatch open, 3 crosses being held from top main as well. The man goes crazy, guns down the man in the middle of the site, then runs at that planter, taunts him, hit fires him in the face and denies that plant. Should never be happening, but still it did. Akron, a perfect defensive half, as they now are looking to finish off that game 7-0 clean, as they'll head on to their own map pick after this. And this match, without the rehosts, has lasted less than 30 minutes.
It's been scary quick. And Akron will go into the ban phase. We'll see what they want to take off. The first one is going to be Azami. Now, they really worked it really well. And I think for Akron, taking off some of those very interesting angles from the different high-level floors is ideal. For Kansas State, though, I mean, you said it. They've got to go flawless here throughout their defensive side to even get themselves to overtime. It's going to be tough, but I think at this point you take it one round at a time, and without the castle, it's going to be even tougher to play a slow defense.
Wow. I mean, Akron have the clear idea. We don't want to see the map being restructured to adhere to the defense requirements to be able to keep this site locked down. You take care of Castle, say goodbye to any long crosses staying shut down by that bulletproof panel, say goodbye to Azami, and you kiss goodbye any restructuring of the map for the remainder of the defensive half, which is very well going to be the last half of the game. I don't imagine any world where we go to overtime when this large of a snowball effect has been built up against a certain team. These operators are gone. But for Kansas State now, it shouldn't be what can we do to do a comeback, because that should already be in your mind. The main priority should be how many rounds can we steal away from Akron to prevent that snowball effect from carrying on into their own map pick, so we can avoid as much disaster as possible, do some damage control, and try to eventually bring a comeback by that second or third map.
Attackers must locate and
That's the
defuse
hope.
bomb.
Build some momentum here. We are started into the action phase. 3 minutes to go. And Akron 1 round away from stealing away Kansas State's map pick and starting off this series with a bang. For Aimkey and the rest of the crew, I mean, this composition just screams to me, sit behind Silo and rush, rush, rush as soon as we have the information. For Kansas State, you've got to be ready. They've got the frost mats. I think that can help out to slow things down. But if you're not careful, Akron could win this round in a blink.
Sitting in that Bravo to just starve out that utility as well, and I don't think you could have said it any better. They're just going to find a gap, hit it, protect Silo as he tries to defend the man who has the case. In this case, it'll be Plex. For this point, or from this point on, the idea, clear the man in library, more specifically the man in the library corner, grab that verticality, force a plant off of the site double window. It's textbook. And luckily, not even luckily at this point, it's more calculated that there is absolutely nobody in the library corner. It's just this man in the connector. And while they're establishing all of this control in CEO on slant, funneling in, it's starting to create some pressure, which forces Kansas to start wasting this utility earlier on in the game.
100 seconds left to go here. You mentioned it, it's already Space who's taken down Yao Ming. And that's even more defensive ability here. Oh, that one stinks. Off the corner wall, burning your teammate a little bit. Silo taken down to 2/3 off of it. Uni waiting for their entrance mark here from the down low angle. With 90 seconds to go, Akron still has just so much space here, and Worm is caught in the crosser. Kosa takes him down. Akron with a clear way to win this round.
really goes to show how well they can really hit that gap. They burned that shield top blue, didn't even need to burn the one that was on Mez, and still were able to unlock that second floor without dropping a single body. All they do is just build on that pressure. Finally, Frank takes care of Kosa, but still, there's a tall order ahead of you, and you guys don't have the health or the facilities to do so. Frank is in sight. If he gets on those evil eyes, he's essentially restricting himself from moving freely, and Akron will be able to sniff him out because all they need to do is just get that plant down. Silo parked out on blue is able to watch those flanks like a human drone, and Uni putting himself in a doomed state here, trying to catch them off guard, just doesn't work out here. Aim key doubles down. Everybody's been massacred within the site, and that is game 7-0 for Akron.
The way they corral Kansas State there, and not even through that round specifically, through the entirety of the map, it seemed like Akron just knew where they were and forced them into the crosshairs for every single look. Plexios gets the MVP after the couple of rehosts at the 6-1 marker, and it just goes to show you, literally, all 5 of them are juggernauts that can step up, that can make plays, and boy did they. Akron with an early lead here in this grand final series.
I mean, that just goes to show the privilege of being able to play together in a real environment with a coach in consistent practice. Kansas State threw everything they had at this team, and they couldn't find that gap. But the great thing about BO5s is there's multiple chances to come back from a round loss or a map loss of such great deficits or margins to be able to bring it on to the next. And going on to layer, that is where these maps tend to bring unexpected territories. Layer is one of those unexpected maps. Anything can happen, and that is where Kansas State needs to be able to hit this with the best of their ability to try to get themselves on the board for one map as well. But that's a lot to talk about during this half because, oh my god, what a one-sided performance.
I mean, Akron just was able to win it really well, and the question is, if they can win 2 in a row, they've got a chance to not only sweep the series, but also 3 more maps to try and close it out. We're going to give our players a little bit of a break, and ourselves a little bit of one as well. Don't go anywhere. Akron strikes first. Will Kansas State answer? You'll have to see.
Nothing cuts quite like a memory.
What a first map to start out the series. If you guys have missed it, I'm Sino, that's Llama, and today we're bringing you the grand final between Akron and Kansas State. But I mean, it wasn't even a competition on that first map. An absolute landslide. Weirdly enough, on Kansas State's own map, Chalet ended in a 7-0 fashion. And if it wasn't for those rehosts, I'm telling you, we would have stayed under 25 minutes.
I would tend to agree. And honestly, you talk about Lair coming up next is one of those kind of toss-up maps. It does feel like anything and everything often does and can seem to happen on this map. But for Akron, it's their first map pick. Theoretically, it's the map they feel most comfortable on. And then after it, I mean, you talk about Bank, where Akron has had so much success in the past. I think if Kansas State wants to turn around this series, it's got to be in this map number 2, and it's got to be a bit more decisive than it was in map number 1. Finding ways to work off each other. I like the game plan to go slow. Don't get me wrong. If that's your style, stick with it. But you need to be able to play off each other such that Akron doesn't just throw as many members as possible at you, and you don't have anything to do about it.
I completely agree, and I'm going to pick out one specific point you just made. Layer is where this needs to happen. If they lose this map and go on to Bank, it's over. It is over. Akron is not a team that loses on Bank, and I feel like I need to reiterate this multiple times throughout this series. I was literally watching them against Fisher on the weekend, and the way they were playing it was so aggressive, so coordinated, that I genuinely haven't seen that level of quality out of a collegiate team. For Kansas State, you're seeing all of the right ideas. On Layer, playing slow is usually the perfect way to start out the map, especially when you're on the defensive. The only time aggression is warranted is when you're down a body or 2 bodies, because you want to avoid that snowball effect at all costs. But right here, right now, the first round and winning that first round is the most important thing.
You talk about winning. Maybe you guys at home just are going through your gaming sessions and don't have enough protein. Well, you've got to go check out Wenzel Farms' legendary Wisconsin meat stick since 1977. They've got 14 different mouthwatering flavors. They are great with gaming. You can keep your hands clean and you can go meet your heart out. So go pick up yourself some Wenzel Farm legendary Wisconsin meat sticks right here, right now.
I think it's restricted to only Wisconsin, or you think I can get some in Canada?
Oh, you can get some. They got a website. You can get them delivered.
I'd search them up now, but that wouldn't be too professional of me. I'm gonna write that down real quick, right next to the notes. But as the first bans do rain on in, Ace, Bandit, Thermite, and Kaid here. A very funny trend if you can really sniff it out here. We don't want you to open up the walls, and we don't want you to deny them. So for Kansas State, they're going to have to rely on Tabaro and impact tricking, maybe even mirror tricking if they're feeling a little naughty. And for Akron, they have opportunities, especially with the newer changes to the hard breachers that was yesterday with the new season. Habana can now fire her X-Kairos automatically, and Maverick has 2 canisters, but they are now more in total than they were for the 5 distributed ones. So it's going to be a little interesting to see how Kansas State is going to adapt to this, because if Akron says we don't want either of these hard breachers, we can bring anybody with can openers, and that is so many different avenues of utility to be able to open up these breaches.
And I think when you talk about breach as well, I'm also looking at aim key here. Obviously, you have the key for aim key, no pun intended there, the skeleton key on this buck, that if you're able to roam really well, you can make things really tough for Kansas State. Open up so many different soft breach spots that make it hard for them to contain the rest of your team. And honestly, we've already said it so many times. All 5 of these players can step up so well. They're working off of the shield. They're putting a drone behind it. It's just textbook play to gain some information.
Now, with the way that they're going to play this out, am I tweaking, or is Monty's ability just no longer showing? See that in the bottom right?
I did.
Oh, okay. I thought I was just absolutely losing my mind here. Now, as Kansas State are now defending Pebbles Hall, they're going to have to be forced to account for the verticality you were talking about. If you can maneuver your way below, you can just really force the defenders to make mistakes here. Or even that, if they ignore you, an easy swing, scare of your face. And that's exactly what's going to happen. An almost kill for the man that resides in deep display. They'll all calm down, while Akron look for their next attack. Get into that site and find first blood. Well,
that's what they'll do. Oh, man. Aim key space. How about a double kill? What more do you want? Some ketchup with those fries on the combo meal. Akron is eating well so far, and all down to 2 here for Kansas State. Again, you're working with the shield. Just work the 1-on-2. Flexio makes them eat dirt, rather. And Akron is out to a very early lead, and it seems like the Mira will be cut down all the same. Osa, final kill. Akron, first blood.
What was that? What was that Denari doing? Did he really think that mailing that Monty would come with no repercussions? And if I'm not mistaken, Akron suffered 1 casualty there?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I'm telling you, it's straight domination. Now, with Kansas State, I like what they've done here. Previously on their defenses, they stuck to 1 site. Well, I mean, actually, it's not really a point we can make considering they only defended once. But I like how they've switched off the site. There are a lot of teams within collegiate that lose 1 site and go right back to it the next time and the next time until they eventually lose it so many times. There's a large margin. By the time they try something different, the game's already over. So, good on them for being able to switch it up here, because they have more than capable operators to get the job done. And this is the team that you need to keep these players outside of the players or the areas you don't want them in. But still, you have to take that with a pinch of salt, because eventually you're still going to have to take your gunfights, and Akron's got you beat in that department.
All 5 of them seem to be on point here as they've opened up the killing. Everybody but Silo gets a kill in that first round, and Space earns a double kill for themselves. So it's going to be the Mira Azami combination that will try and add some creativity to this map. But it just feels like a lot more of this map is on those other 3 players, especially looking at the clash and seeing what Uni can do on some of those rotations. You've got to be able to get information and then work off of it to be able to shut down where Akron is entering from before they enter.
With this basement site, verticality is one of the most important things, and then the next, whether you decide to approach it from warehouse, the textbook play is to open up the verticality and then funnel down filtration, so you can watch that vert and watch anybody who tries to swing out that connector once they try to contest that player who's planting close on that filtration breach. Now, we've seen how Dracon can play with the Shmika launchers, but he needs to preserve them, work in parallel with Worm, keep the Kibas up for as long as he can so he can run around the site freely. By then, hopefully be able to find a first pick, but this is the best case scenario. The time is ticking, and Kansas State usually falls down to pressure very easily.
They're just going to back up just a little bit. Silo once again is the lead man, being the spearhead here into that basement floor. once you get access to the stairs, you talk about filtration and all that it gives you. Worm is going to be cut down to a fifth of their HP. That chip touch, nice shot from Silo. Headshot takes down Drakon, and that is a lot of defensive utility. Uni basically has to do everything now.
That's Caster's Curse at its finest. I'm talking about the Tachanka and the Azami. The Tachanka loses his life, and the Azami goes down to 1 HP. To make matters worse, Aimkey takes care of Uni, meaning there are only 3 bodies left in sight, and with full verticality being established, there's absolutely nothing to do. This team has accounted for absolutely everything, even the craziest flank of all time. Kosa takes a life, takes the cams, which means he knows there's a player now in Warehouse. Whether these players like it or not, that plant is going to go down. Worm needs to put his body, his life on the line to try to take these ones, but verticality is established. He doesn't have the health to facilitate this aggression, and there's absolutely nothing left. You can do absolutely nothing. As he learns that the hard way, he'll go down. Frank takes some damage, but again, he just can't go anywhere. He's being hit from all fronts in a flawless round from Akron. Oh my god, there's just nothing they can do.
They never give you a chance. I mean, the re-engage just goes to nothing. Kansas State just don't even have the angles to try and pressure it back. Kosa's taking a nap right by the stairs on the floor and still finds a kill. And Akron goes back-to-back rounds, and across the 2 maps, they are 9-0 in round wins. You talk about dominance, there is not enough times we can say it. The problem now for Kansas State, again, adaptation. They're going to go with the Fenrir, and I don't hate it to try and get some of these blinds, but they need to be creative off of the Azami and off of the Mira.
I don't even know what to say anymore, because that positioning from Kosa really goes to show how this team is accounting for everything. Usually when you see such a large flood in the site, especially with your shield operator, you want to protect him at all costs. You want to be able to get in this site with all 5 bodies watching his back. Akron spread out their resources, and they didn't spread thin. They used everybody to work that verticality to funnel in through filtration, while Kosa sat parked out on the other side of the map and waited for that flank, because he didn't have a Nomad, no good luck, so why not use a human flank drone? And you see what they did there? They got an easy kill, opening up Warehouse as well, allowing Kosa to walk down and isolate. They are 5 steps ahead, and Kansas State have yet to call that timeout yet.
They're just trying to thug it out right now. Round 3 here of map 2. And this could be the changeover point. If Akron can win this one, they've already guaranteed themselves a tied half. And we said it time and time again in the pre-show before this second map. This is where Kansas State needs to turn it around. The Zips have had their number, and especially with the bans, they have made it very hard to find the answers. Kosa's on 3, Space is on 3, and Akron looks to get the team on 3.
Wouldn't it be crazy to say they already want to get it in the bag here, but a beautiful shot from Worm in the long range takes care of the man who was watching the back of the Monty. Job well done within the first minute here, but yet again, Aimkey doing exactly what LeBron does. Opens up verticality, deprives the Mira, and continues to just wait out while that opportunity presents. No time lost, no stress lost, as Akron are plotting back to the drawing board. Their next casualty, their next body they want to take here, but you're gonna have to do that without the gridlock.
Space has been critical as well. However, for Uni, their position may be even more so. On a rotary look, Aimkey pulls out the skeleton key and is not able to take anybody down. Now they know the position. If they want to try and crunch out Aimkey, it could get tough real quick. Swing good from Uni with a headshot, and Kosa takes one back. So it's a 4v3 here, but for Akron, maybe the most awkward of a round scenario they've had so far.
Love what we're seeing so far from Kansas State. They really aren't scared to get aggressive here. One man fell, and then Mira just drops the hatch to reestablish. Now, every kill they get is instantly met with a revenge kill, but the only one that hasn't been was that first casualty. They're going to pay that price. You're now down a body, and unlucky for you, the man downstairs has a C4, but guess who's also downstairs? Kosa goes big, catches Azami on that back heel because she thought Mira was watching her cross, but that means it creates a divide onto site. Everybody can just go upstairs, leaving it to a 1v2 situation here, but Akron don't have the case, meaning they're going to have to get a lot more aggressive in this final half of the round.
Which I think may make the Akron players a little giddy. You tell them to get more aggressive, they're ready to go. Plexios has to watch the back as Kosa is cut down. No more added to the double kill. They've already added to the stat tally. Case is there. Frank on the rotation, maybe the first point of contact here. as still deciding where to go. I mean, this is 20 seconds left to go. I like Yao Ming just kind of bundling down, maybe just playing the timing here as Plexios is caught. Now the position is known. We'll lay out some bullets, but may try and lay out the case here sooner rather than later. And here comes the rush. Just one to get there, and looks like the case is actually going to go down. The C4 is huge, though.
On his front doorstep, not a second to reacted. Finally, after 9 rounds of straight domination, Kansas State have gotten themselves on the board. A little bit of joy from the Fenrir, but still, a large task ahead of them. They need to continue to do what they did in that round. Find that first pick, and don't use it to get more aggressive. Use it to sit back, relax, and waste out all the time for Akron and continue to find those gaps. Beautifully played by Kansas State, as they now have opened up their defensive campaign with 1.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned the gaps. It felt like playing a lot more together off of that round. As soon as they take down the early cut onto space, you remove some of that utility, you're kind of more confident that you can play off of each other and look for those trades. They played the timing really well, and now for Akron, they've lost their first round of the overall series. They still have the lead in this half, and Kansas State, the work has just started.
Now they'll go on to that tertiary site. It's one of the great things about Layer is most of the sites are actually pretty good. The tertiary site is a little bit of a debate, but I think it is pretty good because concerned with the breaches that are very close. I mean, you just have to go outside to open up the breach, but it is like that with a lot of sites. There are so many main breaches on this. I think it's 3 if I'm not mistaken. It creates a divide between defenders, but what kind of solidifies everybody that this is a good site is the fact that there's verticality. You can do whatever you want up here. As long as you don't lose the verticality, you can deny the plant about virtually anywhere in this site. But that is if you guys can stay at full strength for the full round, which we know KSU can sometimes struggle with. This is that round where they can prove us wrong.
And I'd love to see them do it, because this
100%.
is a true test. I mean, this is the site that is going to really test your mettle, and not only can you hold the high-low ground, but can you stop a breach coming straight towards your face with maybe behind the backs of Silo. First base is going to blow open the entry door and drop a drone right on top of Silo's back. It's a plan they've been covering pretty much all day long.
Only 30 seconds in. Kansas State are doing a good time for just denying, and to be able to find that spear entry, I feel like they're using that Fenrir exceptionally well here, and with that F not being shot, he can repurpose it anywhere on the map here, but it also gives Dracon that heads up to the players that are just heading towards him, and now he'll just reset and wait out here. And for something I thought would have been a full extension of upstairs, they're only going to assign 3 bodies that just have to preserve their lives for as long as possible, as 1 minute's already been burned out.
2 left to go here in this round. Now halfway through this first half here with Akron on the attacking side. And Silo's got a ton of space. Frank is actually in quite an awkward spot if Kosa chooses to wrap around. And it is Kosa who just finds their way in, takes him down. Silo's the trade. So a 4v4. But Silo being dropped does remove a bit of spearheading. Space doesn't care. Takes him down. It's a player advantage for Akron.
Prophecy is just going to continue to be fulfilled. Whoever finds that first pick creates that snowball effect. Plexios, with a good old case of siege timing, looks down to shoot the track stingers, but Space comes back with a revenge kill later in that round, forcing that deficit yet again for KSU. Aim key, LeBron's watching that cross, will take care of Worm upstairs, just leaving Yao Ming on that site all by his lonesome. The clock continues to run down, but it's not even going to matter. Not a second more is needed for Space, as he'll catch him off with a very interesting hole in the ground. I didn't even think he meant to make that. And he'll get the kill, and Akron reestablish that 2-round lead.
And that was just lovely. I mean, what a way to bounce on back. First and foremost, you get Kosa on that initial spearhead. They just filter everybody and anybody exactly where they want them to go. And it's the things that happen after. You get that first kill, and that means the green light. As soon as you have the green light, then you build up this crossfire. You bait them into walking into the hallway, which is something they never needed to do, but challenge it anyways. And then they just call the phone, and guess who's picking up? It's a Slayer on the other side, and Akron, as you mentioned, now with a +2 advantage, but even more than that, they've got confidence back here in this map.
But I will say, KSU is starting to, not activate, but they are starting to show some resistance. for Akron, they've usually been able to steamroll their way into the site with little to no opposition, and KSU's kind of been taking it. Right now, we finally are seeing bodies
5 seconds
being
to
lost
insertion.
from Akron while they actively try to clear out these defensive holds, and
Attackers
that
must
is
locate
exactly
and
what we
defuse the
need
bomb.
on layer. Now, a 3-all split is still very realistic here, but these last 2 rounds need to be pitch perfect, otherwise Akron are going to make you pay.
And we said it, if you don't win these 2 rounds, I mean, that could realistically mean the map, and that map could mean the series. Even though Kansas State does get their next map pick, Bank has been a little bit shaky overall for them. We'll see what Kosa wants to do with the entryway, and we'll bring the keyhole opener straight to him. Breaking open the door here to follow things up for Akron. Space, who is 6-1 by the way, only a single death across this map, has a way about them that can just keep going.
KSU sucks. He did it again! He did it again! Oh my god. He did that at a LAN like 2 months ago. He just typed out the other team sucks, and he does it again. He always types it wrong. Wow, what a throwback. And I don't even know what to say at this point, because what's new Scooby-Doo? First blood is going to go in the favor of Akron, as we'll take care of Yao Ming, and now say goodbye to one of your only roamers on the board here, as everybody else is going to have to try to rise to the task and stop Akron, and that's exactly what will happen. Plex meets his maker 30 seconds after first blood.
Yeah, I forgot to check that right side corner. It's gooped up towards the ground, and we're back into a 4v4. For aim key, not the greatest health bar to work with, and Fenrir is going to be the target of Deimos, so I like that look through the wall here. Just a couple of sprays. Uni is down to maybe a 4th HP, and a spray down from Kosa is exactly where they wanted to force them through. Again, like herding cattle here, up a member for Akron.
Less than 90 seconds left on the clock here. Verticality now fully established. Was waiting to use that boogie drone to watch one of the most restricted areas in this site. This lab cross is going to completely shoot anybody who crosses on those head holes, or whoever tries to play close on that lab rotate to send Shmika's in. Essentially making Tachanka fight for his life every single time he tries to utilize that ability. Now it's starting to go in the red time here for Kansas State. Yes, they have below a minute, but they're down a body, and they're now going to have to rely on those Volcans to stop Akron and their aggression.
Silo's denied from vision, but a double kill from Kosa starts it. They've still got the shielded, so they can just lead the charge with that, gain the info, and play off of this like it is their house, their way, their kills. A double from Silo, and Worm is not long for this world. Takes a headshot and maybe, just maybe, can change the tone.
I think he can. So many things left to do here. Less than 50 HP to get that job done, and Space is going to shut him out post-plan. 4-1. No gaps being left. Akron said, we'll let you have a round, but we're going to take back 3 in advance. We're starting to near the end of layer. I know I'm saying that preemptively. It's 1st to 7, but I just do not see a comeback. Akron have hit so many gaps so fast that Kansas State are completely falling apart now.
They just haven't found answers to Akron's speed, and when you talk about some of those lower bomb sites, you mentioned it earlier, when you lose the high ground, you all of a sudden trap yourself into some of those isolated corridors down in the low ground, and Akron makes full use of that. They bring the ram, they slam you up top, and then as soon as you try and play reserve, they rush you. And especially for Silo, who did have some early deaths in previous rounds, steps up in that last one, stays alive, leads the charge, and gives Akron so much info to play across in that post plan that it wasn't even close.
I'm speechless at this point. I thought we finally were seeing the comeback that I so desperately wanted to see from Kansas, because that round that they won was so well played out. They forced the problems, they forced the gaps, and they even played the time with that case forced loose. Just need to replicate that again. They're only going to be given one chance to do so. This is their last round on the defensive. Best case scenario now is a 2-4 split. And honestly is going to be the best case scenario, but let's be honest, Akron is starting to force a wedge in between each and every player, make them play like 5 individuals instead of a cohesive team. And I feel like we're starting to see that round by round.
And that's what makes them win. I mean, you're supposed to play as a team. It's obviously a 5v5 shooter, but when you're able to get that in, it can change things all the same. Reaching goes, though, destroy the mirror on the wall as well from Plexios, who's just going to cause a thorn in the side here from Kansas State, who has to do something to try and answer it in their final defensive round here of the half. Oh, the barrel sticking out. Silo, good information here. The Monty once again leads the charge on that.
NECC looking to find first blood here, as he's very good at doing so, and that's been proven time and time again throughout this series and throughout multiple series. He has played 3 BO5s in the last 2 months, which is absolutely crazy to think about. You would think these teams would burn out, but no, Akron just take that as fuel to get better. And Kansas State, right now, continue to try the same old unique staple plays, and it's just not working out in their favor, and they're going to continue to learn it the hard way. First blood in their favor, as Denari will fall. Now, his utility is already down, so you can take that with a pinch of salt, as it's not really a crazy loss, but losing that body in itself is just going to suck for the remainder of the round here. Almost a refrag onto Silo, but it'll all quiet down as he looks to walk up and get rid of that laser.
Silo will fall.
Iron
Frank, nice timing. It's the reload on him as well, so we'll need to go grab that case from NECC, and we'll see if KSU does recognize this. Nice shot from NECC. What a redirection here and regain the player advantage. For Space and NECC, they might be a little bit injured hobbling here into this site, but little do they care. They've amped up the speed, and now it's up to Kansas State, who just cannot run it. It's a good trade from Kosa. The kit should be picked back up, and Worm realistically just has to do it all. The shotgun from Frank may have to be the savior of the day.
Identical to that third round where it was KSU to actually get first blood and get a flurry of revenge kills. But this time it all goes in Akron's favor. What you can do, I can do better. Punishes everybody who walks into his crosshairs. Kosa teams up with Space. What a round to build up the suspense, to absolutely destroy anybody who walks into their crosshairs. And not very different from that first map. A 1-5 dominant split, as now Akron will switch on to the preferred side of Layer.
We've got a chance to do some real damage with these bans as well. For Akron, it's a good reminder to ourselves that they won that first map 7-zip. The Zips are 12-1 in round count so far on the day. And Kansas State just has not been able to find their footing here. And it's especially with that speed. Akron, when they're not going to these late round scenarios, it's tough for Kansas State to actually talk as a team and make changes. You don't have time to do that. We'll see the final bans coming through. Ying, Bandit, the final 2 off the board.
What is there even to say at this point? No timeout called, by the way, and we haven't been forced into a timeout yet. So we can't give that benefit of the doubt. But Kansas State, I understand the thinking so far. I mean, if we can think in the eyes of a collegiate team, which may or may not have a coach, I'm not 100% sure. You guys don't want to call a timeout because that gives Akron also the chance to talk to their coach and see what they can do better. But what can they do better? They already have a near flawless split. You guys need to take anything you can to try to get yourselves on that board. You showed us you're more than capable when you took that one round. You played it perfectly. You played to the mistakes of Akron, but right now, nothing is being seen. No attempts to be able to take it back is being seen. You guys are getting refrags time and time again, but what are we doing to build off of that? Because the ending stage, the ending thirds of a round are just absolutely absent from Kansas State.
They haven't had the chance to really close out a round, and honestly, the only round they won was when Akron kind of shot themselves on the foot in the own entry side, so we'll have to see what can happen here in round number 7. This is a round that could put Akron on map point if they win it, and they've got the big old clash, they've got the Mira. This is going to make it really tough overall for Kansas State to really get access to some of the lower tiers of the information. And for Drakon, we'll just send their way straight on in. Skeleton Key is nice and Space has left the game.
Does that grant them the rehost? I think it's 15 seconds and that does. So I think Akron are going to be playing a body down here. Now, no rehost being requested, which means yes, the round will go on. And I actually don't know who he was playing, but now that I'm looking at the leaderboard here, closest 10-1. It is a crazy stat line to be starting off. I mean, the man has been unstoppable, really, and this might be the round that could be the breaking point for Akron. Can this be the turning point for Kansas State? As they get this round, they have established a comeback. They've established a 3-round deficit, which is much more realistic than 4 or 5 rounds here. So they'll lose that Plex, they'll lose that first player due to a DC, and now 5v3 as Akron have 2 minutes to stop continuous effects to try to get in that site and not lose a body.
Good swing there from Kosa, but gets caught off guard by the headshot of Drakon, who has double killed. Oh, NECC wants to do it all. Has some damage on the second here and will play off of that movable shield. Silo, NECC, the two left to go here, and it's probably the two you would want other than Kosa here in this final setup. For Frank and the rest of the crew, you cannot get complacent. It's a 2-round swing. Frank gonna swing it and take Silo's head off of the shoulders. NECC versus the world, and the world is starting to fall apart around him.
Can LeBron do it? Knows the location of two players right now. Third is going to be putting that plant down, whether he likes it or not. It's going to take that long-range gunfight onto operational. Can't quite put him in a critical condition. Nobody's watching this Blackbeard, but he doesn't know that. He's going to have to take a risk. He'll miss that first shot, and now he's on a triple kill. He's on path for an ace and needs to do it in a manageable amount of time, but just can't. That full flash from Worm swings into it with those life pings. An easy kill, and Akron finally lose a round on their defensive, which is a first.
A tough round to lose, especially just because you did lose that initial player from the game crash. So Akron losing their second round here on the second map, and funny enough, it's kind of been a weird game flow throughout our map set today, just because Akron dominated on Kansas State's map pick, and now Kansas State's starting to find some success on Akron's map pick, but it's kind of like you predicted. Lair is sometimes that toss-up map, and Akron, what can you do to control a player crash? And I like that for Kansas State, even though they were a member up, they played that one really well. They used the flashes there towards the end. They played off of each other's bodies, and they even had the safety net that had that aerial not worked, they had the diffuser planted down so they could try and play a 1v1.
I liked how that was played out. I really do. There is a 3-round deficit, and there is a lot to do here, especially being on the least preferred side of Lair, but still, you've given yourselves 2 rounds more than you did on Chalet, and that means anything is possible. Unlucky for a tech pause, but it is Siege. What can we say? If you don't have any final thoughts, we're just going to toss this to a quick break and come back with fresh thoughts, fresh voices, and we'll see what Akron has for us in their wake.
Especially one that you're trying to forget. But I can't find the energy to rewind and reset. I know you don't wanna be used, but you use me too. You build up to break me down. How does it feel? How does it feel to knock me around? I will make a sound. I will make a sound until I hit the ground. So don't shoot me down. Alright, we're not broken. We're just getting off the ground.
Welcome back, everybody. The NECC National Championships here for Division 1. Akron leads 1-0 in overall map score after a demolishing 7-0, and after the rehost, it is Akron 5-2. They lost a player in that last round, but definitely haven't lost hopes on winning the game. You're joined with Llama77 and Sino up here in the booth. And Sino, what'd you see from that last round other than Akron losing a player?
I thought LeBron was going to win a 1v3 with Clash. What? The decision to go flying onto that Blackbeard got him the kill, but it didn't confirm the round as it allowed Worm to just toss 2 flashes off that wall and isolate him very easily with the live pings of him being outside as well. So, Akron now have lost 2 rounds, which is a record for us so far. And now, a 2-5 is going to be what Kansas State have to work with for the remainder of this map. And as we were talking about,
Bomb located by
pre-tech
attackers.
pause could be what they have to work with for the remainder of the series. This could determine the pacing of that bank pick. And I really hope for KSU State that this is going to be in their favor and they can manage to
10
bring this
seconds to
back
go.
some way, somehow.
I hope so too.
Never
a Rainbow
mind.
Six enjoyer myself. Does look like we've got another crash. So
Attackers
things
ejected.
not necessarily going Rainbow Six Siege's way today, but that's okay. You never know what will happen.
Yeah, he said never mind. I saw that last second, so we might be getting trolled.
Trolled. We are trolled. As always.
Oh, we're back. Oh, nice. See, this is why I like Akron. You know, get us in the game. Put us in, Chief. As now they'll be playing with a man down yet again. Space's PC is currently imploding. Don't know what that tech pause could be, but it is what it is. You just got to go with the flow here, but you got to take the advantages where you can find them. Akron might be noble to play this out in a 4v5, but this is KSU's opportunity to force as many round losses as possible and really bring that deficit to closest to a 1 ratio as possible here. But Kosa on the roam, I'm very concerned for KSU as he was 10-2 prior to the break.
Kosa had a phenomenal stat line, and that stat line could continue for Akron, even though they're a player down. If they win this round right here, right now, all of a sudden they are on map point. A map win here would put them on series point in the grand finals, which is already gone so quickly for them. For Kansas State, I like the entry tools here. A little bit of information off the Bandit and possibility to destruct some of the utility on the other side. For Akron, they're just kind of playing it close to the vest. They've got aim key on the Valkyrie for some information, but other than that, they're just playing it as if it was another round.
90 seconds left, and being on the defensive side actually does work in your favor when you are down a body, because you just need to hide behind utility, and if you bring it, then it works in your favor. You have the Black Eyes from the Valkyrie, you have the Toxic Babes, the Vulcans, the C4, and the Jammers to hide behind, and with Kosa upstairs, you have a refrag. A 4-roll, a minute left, and Kosa in no rush to get aggressive. Seems to know that there's somebody waiting for him at the top of the warehouse stairs here, as now Akron are starting to apply that pressure with just less than a minute left on the clock.
Well, Plexios could do some serious damage there with the shotgun. For Uni, needs to clear out this hole. Seeing one on the angle here, and going for the crosser. Uni does catch Kosa and too far of a roam away, and that means no high ground player. For Akron, though, what they do have is time advantage. 40 seconds in their favor. I mean, this has got to be a little bit of a pickup of the pace from KSU.
These Vulcan canisters are only going to burn for 20 seconds, which means it's going to force a little bit of red time action from Kansas State, but they're able to build up their bodies, which is perfect as they'll take care of Plex. Anybody who had utility has now been put in the grave. 1 C4 and bodies to work with, an endless spray, hip fire as Aimkey is in a 1vx yet again. Needs to be able to isolate. That gas pipe won't work miracles for you, as you need to be able to be aimed in at that, but the pressure eventually amounts and it's too much. A 4v5 is lost twice in a row, as now a 3-5, and they've closed out that deficit to just 2 rounds.
And it looks like just in the nick of time, Space will head back in. Hopefully the PC survives a couple of rounds straight, as you mentioned, where they've had some technological issues. But for Kansas State, no issues on the take. I love how decisive they're playing. Even though they're up a member, they are making sure that Akron has no chance to get those refrags. As soon as they took down Kosa in that round, it becomes exponentially harder to hide behind your utility.
Man, I am loving what we are seeing so far. KSU have jumped on the opportunity to force these mistakes, and I don't know if it's just me, but they're looking a lot more confident with the way they're playing. They're finding the picks. They're not scared to get aggressive when it's needed, like they did when they found Kosa just lurking. They got the job done, and that is exactly what we have been demanding for the last couple of rounds. And being able to do so has made it a lot more realistic to bring this back and force an OT or try to win in max regulation, as that is exactly what's going to need to happen if they can win 4 in a row. Highly unlikely. Overtime is the next best option.
It's unlikely, I think, that Akron doesn't get 1 round in there. But crazier things have happened in Collegiate R6, so,
Yeah,
you know,
fair enough.
why not? Give us some more rounds, give us some more action. That's what we're here for. here on the desk would love some more, and Space would love some more kills. Comes back from the double technological difficulties and immediately takes Yao Ming off the board. I mean, that's the Blackbeard. That is one of the quintessential tools here for Kansas State.
Yeah, guy disconnects from the server 2 times, post-rehost, shuts the first person out and shoots him in the face, and luckily for Akron, it's the spear entry. There's nothing to do now but sit back, relax, and force the mistakes yet again, as KSU taught us when they killed the Blackbeard first time around that it is just the ideal to kill players one by one.
The only real concern is, obviously, you've got to deal with Sergeant Dokes Drakon, who is going to be trying to call your phone up and catch you in the act. Aim key catches him trying to run up the stairs, and there goes Dokes. So now up to this 3-on-5 action for Kansas State. They're going to need some heroics for sure, and spraying through the smoke, I don't hate it, but it also gives away your position. So now they basically know where everybody is. Worm might have a chance to shake things up, but Akron is just going to play it very slow and not give anything for free.
First 2 bodies established, absolutely no grace for Kansas State, as they're going to learn this the hard way. The man who hasn't been in the server for the longest is actually going to be just dominating. Oh my god! 3 straight kills, as he's just not scared to swing anything. The first line of defense for Akron has completely wiped out KSU and left Uni by his lonesome in bathroom. They'll come back to win it in a flawless and force that match point.
Flexios was just running at him with a shotgun at the end. That is really what describes everything of this round. Akron able to get that early big kill on the Blackbeard, and everything else was history after that. One more round for the Zips, and they will move to 2-0 on the series, just 1 map win away from being Division I champions. Clash, Thermite, both taken off the board. I don't hate it. I think that's been a strong suit from either side. The question I really have is for Kansas State, what does your attack look like? Are you just going to try and play off the Blackbeard again? We saw what happened in that last round, and especially for so much of the crossfire trust that Akron has in each other, I like their composition too with Amira.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being
Could just be one of those attacks you have that is, you know what, we'll just wing it and hope for the best here. But now the comeback that I was very, very much longing for has become a lot more unrealistic here because of the large deficit being built up. Yet again, they were gifted that golden opportunity to force those mistakes and close out that deficit. But now, completely tossed away, as now they have the full-powered Akron to deal with, and absolutely no answers for them so far, as they're learning the hard way. When space swings you, you're not going to live to tell the tale.
10 seconds.
He's been telling lots of deadly tales in his time in the map today.
5
As a
seconds.
reminder, we do have a 3rd map guaranteed. That will be Bank. However, our final 2 maps of Labs and Consulate, we'll have to see if we get there, if Kansas State can pick up any wins here in the next couple. And it all starts right here. If you want to try and force OT, you've got to win 3 straight. And it all starts with Yao Ming, a.k.a. Stringman, to try and be the spearhead. If you die first, this could be the entire map done.
Stringman Yao Ming. I feel like that should just be his full name now. But there's a tall order that he's going to have to fulfill here, especially on that spear entry role. Can't be getting first picked, is going to need a perfect game from here on out to either find a kill or just establish so much pressure that Akron are going to be set up for easy deaths here. That is a large if, but, and maybe. KSU are now starting to falter to the pressure, and Akron have no problem with building up this pressure round by round, map by map. It's going to be eventually series by series, considering how much these guys play. KSU really need to find a response right here, right now, otherwise there won't be a second chance before we go to the series point.
And we talked about Bank has been a pretty tough map for them, so not ideal necessarily to go to in map number 3. That's what the selection has decided. Uni is finally going to break inside here after over a minute of time has elapsed off the clock. For Akron, yet to really see a body. Plexios could be the game changer once again on a rotary position with a shotgun, unfazed, unfeared, to try and run at your face if he senses any sort of weakness.
Time is really starting to run low here. I mean, 90 seconds is usually the ideal time to start to drone for 30 seconds, and by that 1 minute mark, you want to get into the breach. But the reason I say they're being challenged is, bro, they've not been able to open up any breaches. There's nothing going on here. The mirrors are still intact. There's no pressure being built up here. They don't even have a buck. There's nobody below. You're going to have to rely on IQ and the soft reach ability of her 5.52. Now, this is a very unrealistic standard. And with no primary hard breacher, you have the Habana, but is that going to work? Try to get this Blackbeard in safely. Apparently not. This is going to lose a good amount of his HP. One of the win cons is now dead, as there's so many challenges starting to arise for Kansas State, and they've yet to get a question or an answer for any of them, as they're going to lose their spear up next.
I mean, how are you supposed to play? You lose the early chip damage, you lose the spearhead. Plexios gets
Oh my
damaged and then
God.
just goes crazy. Unfeared, unfazed, and another kill to Akron. Just 2 bodies left here, and realistically, Kansas State is out of time. And guess what? They don't even have the diffuser. Lands the headshot, is aim key. LeBron dunks on them once again. And all Dracan can do is hope and pray, but that will not be enough. It is gonna be Akron moving to 2-0 on this
Oh, he
series,
died.
and they'll do it with a flawless round.
Aim key, nah, that's LeBron as he'll find that last kill. Quick flick of the mouse is going to end out Layer 7-3. 2 hopeful rounds, 2 rounds that we thought could be the beginning of a new chapter. Were absolutely false as Akron slide through very easily. And if you guys have missed that first round or that first map, it is 14 rounds to 3. Layer, by absolute domination, goes to Akron, meaning we go to bank with just a lifeline, hoping to go into the favor of KSU.
I mean, there's nothing else much to say. Akron's been dominant. Every single one of the 5 members has stepped up. And honestly, it's going to be exciting to see what Kansas State can try and do to make those changes. Before we head on to bank, though, we've got to give ourselves a little bit of a break and a breather, so don't go too far. More Division I Grand Championships are right after this.
This is not a rehost.
Sometimes I lack the bravery, 'cause I know I fear the end. One day we'll see a guess I'll think about you, but what you gonna do? And you know I'm feeling good like that, so what you gonna do? And I guess I'll think about you, but what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Welcome back, everybody. Still here at the NECC Division 1 Playoff Grand Finals. Llama 77, Sino up here in the booth, and we have witnessed Akron doing Akron things. Their main roster winning the first map 7-0, cakewalking into the second one 7-3, and they've got a chance to sweep the Grand Finals in 3-0 fashion as they head to Kansas State's map pick of Bank.
Now, if you guys don't know how best of fives work, it's, well, best of five. Whoever gets to 3 maps first without any opposition is going to just clean sweep the series. And I know we were very optimistic to see Nighthaven, to see Consulate, but let's be honest, man, this is a large ask, especially with the amount of pressure that Akron has really been applying. The only time we really saw them being challenged is when they lost one of their key players and were playing in a 4v5, and even then they still won that game 7-3.
Yeah, funny statistic, when Akron is 4v5, they are 0-2 in rounds. When they are 5v5, they've only lost a single round across the entirety of 2 maps. And for Kansas State, they're going to take the mirror off the board first.
Now, I could only say so much about Bank and the do's and the don'ts, but for the attacking half of Bank, I have one good piece of advice, and it is don't die. Don't let a large margin be built up against you. Don't die for the second time, in case anybody didn't remember what I said the first time. Because when you allow Akron to kill you one by one, again, you're forcing the individual performance. And KSU have not been able to rise to the individual task. They've been thriving when it has been a cohesive execute, when they are only playing as a 5-man unit. Let's hope Akron are actually going to lose the first round for once, because I would be very excited to see what happens for the remainder of the map.
And it's kind of interesting that, the don't die point is very easy to say in a consolidated room, right? But also, this is such a big map where it feels more true than ever. If you die, the space you give up is not just a single room. It's probably like a literal fourth of the map if you die. So it is all about reserving your life and playing off each other. And I think they're just going to try the shielded front attack and play off of Yao Ming again.
Again, this is such a long task for Kansas State to approach. But if you are to approach it, it always has to start somewhere. And this is where exactly it can happen. But with the aggression that Kosa meets you with in server every single time, you're going to have to be aware of dirt. You're going to have to be aware of so many different things here. And I'm really just trying to wait to anticipate what the execute is going to be here. But it looks like Kansas State are going to try and play the verticality here. Not soft, but open up the hatches and play them one by one as they'll look to bring in different avenues onto the map.
I like the high-low play. Gives you a lot of opportunities to really push the issue. Akron with a little bit of jarring, as they always do. As you mentioned, some of the nicest guys in all of Rainbow Six Siege, but boy, did they show it out here on the court. Detected outdoors for real quick for just a moment from Space, who did have some of those outward looks of the technological issues. The question being, though, for Kansas State, you've got a minute gone. And again, no real space taken. They're just playing it off the drone info.
Now, something that is always so nice to see in newer seasons is the meta changing. Now, it isn't groundbreaking, but the reason you see a Thermite on the board is because it's 3 exothermics and now a secondary shotgun. He can do whatever he very well pleases, but there are larger issues at hand now that you've lost First Blood, and it's going to be your Monty. Kiss goodbye any easy plant. As for those easy hatches we were mentioning with those exothermics, it's not going to matter if the hatches in elevator, in open area, are open, and even worse, there are players up there looking to get their chunk of the pie.
Luckily, they'll take down Aimkey. But that is, again, worst case scenario. Aimkey catches one of your strongest frontliners on a roam. And now you've got Silo and the rest of the crew just built up here with shotguns. Finally, we'll get those thermite charges to go. Gonna be frozen away. Plexios ready to go here on a nice long side angle that covers so much ground. 60 seconds to go here, and for Kansas State, they might just try rushing this thing.
Need to clear that server player off, and they know this for a fact here. Being able to find Plex on the other side of the map grants them some access, some leeway, as they'll be able to build up that man advantage. But the thing that kind of sucks is there's 2 Vulcans stacked up on the site door, and there's 40 seconds left. If my math amounts correctly, 20 times 2, it equals 40. But for Dracon, matters are just going to be worse for Akron, as they are going to lose that man in blue due to a frag grenade here, as they now are setting up for the initial final push.
Kansas State says math this, throws a frag grenade right in the face. Akron, 2 players left to go, Space and Kosa. They've been historically very good in scenarios like this, and Worm is going to take down Space. So it's all down to Kosa here. Diffuser going to be layered on here, and maybe if you can stop the diffuser, might be it. Kosa looks right, gets the headshot, gets the shotgun long range, and Worm is down!
Oh my god! Are you serious, Llama?
LMFAO.
I'd be saying a lot more. Dada is right. Honestly, you know what? That's it. Are you serious, Llama? You know, there are certain rounds in games that we think are unwinnable, but he's gone ahead and made it a winnable situation. Are we serious, KSU? He didn't throw a toxic bait behind the chassis, so why are we going Mach 10 in the middle of the site?
I mean, can we talk about that flick as well?
Yeah,
the right side headshot?
That was disgusting.
Oh my lord!
Who is this man? The South African king, apparently, and he only got 1 kill off of that, by the way. 1 kill off of that, and he killed 4 people that were lying in his wake. Oh my god. I don't think I've ever seen a round like that.
I mean, that is one way to lose a round, and that is one way to lose momentum here for Kansas State. I mean, talk about how that round started. You lose Yao Ming, sure. Get that out of your mind. They go 4 straight kills, and then just cannot get it done. Oh boy, Akron's got to feel good after that.
Still
5 seconds remaining.
I don't know what to say. Are you serious? I don't think I've ever seen that round being lost.
Objective is to defuse a bomb.
I don't care the difference in skill, team. That should just never be lost. Because there's that man watching that verticality, I know your case carrier is low on HP, so let us just drop the case and hand it off to somebody who's full HP and plant behind the chassis. If he throws another toxic bait, great. I'm going to do 100 damage in 5 seconds. So there are things to think about here, but a barn burner of a first round, I feel like it's just going to force another similar situation where Akron just force a landslide, round in and round out.
And they're so good about fixing their mistakes, too, that might have been your 1 round to start a momentum swing.
100%. Yeah.
That they're going to make changes. I mean, look at what they changed to. They got Castle, they got Frost, they got Clash. They are literally shutting down any sort of long range, and they're just going to play slow.
We were talking about it before. Akron's just not that team that makes mistakes, and I like how you said it. It's a resilient team that always thinks to be better round in and round out. In KSU, they stick to their playbook, which isn't a bad thing, but has been proving to be difficult with the playstyle of Akron. Clashing playstyles only means 1 victor, and right now KSU's learning it the hard way because Akron are given a lot more leeway considering they're up on 2 maps and up on the current map. There's so much that needs to be done. There's so much that they haven't been able to do that it really starts to amount here. And with this 4-way cross being held up, somehow Dracon finds first blood on the other side of the map. It's now starting to become a bad situation for Akron where they need this first pick instantly, and hopefully it's the man on the windows.
Got to try and find this jump out. There it is, aim key. In and out, just like that. Quick and easy. They'll see the shield. Yao Ming is down to a single point of HP, it seems like. But Uni still finds a flick. Trying to knife it down here. There is resiliency to the left side, and Kansas State taking a lot of injuries. But Aimkey is now looking the other way. Silo takes down Yao Ming on the other side, and there goes your shield. Everybody is now just on an island on those entry stairs. Kansas State really has no recourse to it either.
Yao Ming learning the hard way what happens when you want to extend and aren't aware of your surroundings here. He was on 1 HP, and now he's fully dead. Aimkey the same. A 3v2, as now yet again, KSU have built up a primary situation to be able to establish a lead here, but yet again, Silo gets 2 on the same exact angle. Another 1vx, but this time in the favor of Akron. He's outside, no case in hand. 20 seconds left on the clock, and he's ultimately going to decide to rappel in. He'll catch a shotgun to the teeth. to call it a day. And Akron are now starting to build up a lead, even if it's 2-0. It's so much pressure built up across each and every map that now KSU are left speechless.
And honestly, you talked about the playbook for Kansas State. Right now, it seems like playbook is just one page long. The single play they have is let's ride behind our shielded operator, let's run maybe a Grim or something to deal some chip damage, and let's hope and pray that we find some sort of entrance. They just literally walk in I formation, 5 together up the stairway, and eventually you're just gonna get crossfire down to nothing. Sure, you get good kills onto Enki, but it doesn't matter when you still have the shielded operator available on the other side, and for Akron, you've still got a shotgun guarding the window. That is a huge second round to get, and completely a flip side of what that first round showed us.
I have one question. You think that playbook is double-sided?
I guess not. Maybe just the single
Just one
side.
page.
Yeah.
10 seconds left.
It feels so wrong to say, but it's just
5
true.
seconds left.
We are not seeing resiliency, and that is the biggest issue right now, because
Attackers are
I
heading out
actually am a
to use
fan
the bomb.
of how Kansas State usually likes to amount to the pressure when it comes to using that playbook, force the mistakes from Akron. We've seen glimpses of a promising unit, but that's overshadowed by the amount of mistakes and the refusal to adapt or switch it up against Akron, because that is that team that will punish you for not doing so.
And I feel like for Kansas State, the tougher part is their playstyle has worked all throughout playoffs to get them to this point.
Yeah.
They have been using the shielded and frontward pointed position to actually succeed because they've been forcing mistakes from others. But because Akron just doesn't make those mistakes, they're so well played as a 5-stack, and they know how to trade kills. I mean, the plan is just not working in Kansas State because they've succeeded for so long. I don't know that they have something else that they can drop to. I mean, we're talking about making changes in your playstyle. This is map number 3. Kansas State should have made those changes back in map number 2 or in map number 1.
Map number 1, it was a 7-0. I feel like that was the
True.
more difficult area. Well, this man surely can't walk out of this with a kill, or anything at that. His sole position in life is run the clock out, and he's doing a great job, and he made it out alive. I take it back. Are you serious? But at least on the other hand, the string man gets one, takes care of space. Hasn't been able to find joy at all, but has been that player that you really can't say anything about until the game's over, because he can heat up. We saw him disappear for 3 rounds, and he came back and got a 4K before the match ended on layer, so we're not going to say anything about him. But Kansas State, yet again, the round, it's set up looking beautiful. Hold on to your bodies in the final third of this round, please.
I mean, surely. Silo's at a 5th of his HP. The rest of the team trying to crowd together with just 60 or some seconds left to go. You wonder where things could go wrong. And it starts, I think, with Aimkey and Silo. If they can crawl their way up to a possible defuser setup, that could make things quite awkward here with all the space and information that they have for the Zips. What they're going to watch from here is going to be exciting. I want to see what Kansas State does from especially the Azami barrier setup position, the extra look up, the buck. They've got so many places to enter from, but Kansas State need to do it sooner rather than later.
30 seconds left on that clock. Game key goes down. Worm finding 2 big kills here. Now this is the round you guys need to win. C4 goes loose on that soft wall. Doesn't connect here. Plex goes big with 1. But luckily it's not identical to the first round, as he'll be shut out on his 3rd attempt to try to isolate the ones here. And finally, KSU gets themselves on the board.
They'll find their first round of this map. And again, it is their map selection because they are the home team. But however, Akron kind of faltering there just because of those early losses, and a really good job there in the post plant from Kansas State to actually play together. There's always that chance you let the player behind the desk set kind of dip up, dip down, continue to play with your emotions, and Kansas State was able to clean things up, and in the process, they are going to take the Clash off the board.
I really hope this is the beginning of a new beginning. That makes any sense. A lot of beginnings in there. But,
Yeah.
1 to 2. Final bans have now
Attackers need to
reigned in
locate
for
and
the
defuse
first
bombs.
half of attack for Kansas State, meaning this will be their last opportunity to get those rounds in on the attacking half, because let's be honest, this isn't going to overtime. Each and every game has ended out in regulation. Why wouldn't this one? Now, it is looking much better than I anticipated. because of the previous head-to-head stats, with Akron managing to usually win out Bank, but have lost it. I don't know if they won or lost it against Fisher on the weekend, but I know this map has been like a pressure point for them, but they have been able to learn a lot off of it. Meaning anything
10
could have
seconds
happened,
remaining.
but my prediction was leaning more towards Akron. But KSU starting to surprise me
5
because
seconds left before
the
insertion.
common theme in all 3 rounds, Llama, it's not that Akron managed to win 2, it's that Kansas State have forced 1vx's 2 out of that 3 rounds, and the one that they didn't, it was still a very challenging task for Akron to be able to win.
I mean, imagine that, when you don't throw your bodies away or try and fight that post plant with no health left to go. It ends up working. Unironically, though, for Kansas State, a couple of really good rounds, and that's what they need. Just build off a couple of really big rounds. As we always like to say here, you never lose. You either lose or you don't lose. You either win or you learn from your losses to try and get better in those following rounds.
Well, I mean, think about it like this: first place winner wins the whole thing, but people who lose are the second place winners, or the first place at being second. I don't know how to say it. Whatever. Now, Space going for the same identical run that he's gone for almost every single defensive round. When he hears somebody playing off the elevator rappel here, won't find joy. It burned off the clock here. All that you can really hope for is the defenders. Hopefully they don't force Kosa into another 1v4 situation here, but we know he's more than equipped for that task. And now they've used Yao Ming to just get in that open area and force them back into the site here, gaining access into one of those hatches, but they're going to have to open up that second one.
They need more pressure here, and that's a guarantee. Oh, those shotguns are available, too, from Akron. Always a questionable scenario if you want to go down low against those. You wonder for Kansas State, what does the look go from this Thermite? Obviously, you've got the Monty as the lead charge. Plexios and crew are just ready for anything, it feels like, and Drakon has to be very, very careful. Even though you can open this up, there goes the frostiness, and it'll die the early entry, but they're ready to go. They really want to target this hatch.
60 seconds now left on the clock here. They're waiting to get that right idea, that go button. They'll have Uni parked out on Marble and everybody else tasked with clearing out Blue server and anybody standing in their way. Frag Grenade is what dealt with Plex on this last time around. The C4 goes loose, taking out all the HP, forces the shield to the side, killing out Yao Ming in 2 swipes. Now just leaving Frank and everybody else near this door, but the case is forced loose. There's less than a minute left here. You can't flash him, you can't frag him. There's nothing you can do but hope to God he makes the mistake and walks into your crosshairs. But knowing Silo, do you think this is going to be a common trend? He won't even activate his glasses. Is going to try to isolate that fight. Can't do so. Worm wins it. And now they've opened up all of servers as now Kosa lets those toxic babes loose.
Well, you activate the stairway position, though. With 20 seconds to go. This could get dicey. Long-range angles built up from Akron. Worm and crew do not have a ton of health if you mentioned fighting into those toxic babes, and long shots from Worm go into nothingness. 5 seconds left to go. They've got the diffuser built up, but Akron is just going to shut him down with long-range shots. They're getting eaten alive here, and Kosa's shotgun is good. Again, they win on time. The C4 delivers another to the grave, and Akron just play their cards close to the vest.
Damn, who threw that? LeBron? Oh my God. Not even aim key, just LeBron in general. This came from downtown, and a 1-3 has now prevented any form of, let's say, a winning half for Kansas State. The best they can get away with here is a evened out 3-all, but it's highly unlikely considering that Akron have now learned from their mistakes here. All that is left is just win out that one site they haven't been able to, which was on the mid floor. Other than that, they're looking down a perfect cycle of a defensive round. With 2 left, they have that chance to prove they can perfectly defend this map, but I feel like there are bigger problems here, like Kansas State's ability to reject the aggression from Akron, considering they are the attackers. Akron are doing very well individually, and they're putting on a show, except for Space hasn't been able to find joy, but still, it's just overshadowed by the success that they're finding, and now KSU need to go right back to that drawing board.
10 seconds to insertion.
If you've got to find something that's going to win them this round. And
5 seconds.
I think maybe they just need to give themselves a little bit more time. I mean, I know it's tough with Akron not giving you a lot to work with. They don't make a lot of noise in some of those early action phases, so it's really tough to decipher where they actually are. But what is the sort of trend in these last couple rounds? It's been Kansas State goes in with 15 seconds left, and you're praying you can get a good spot to get the diffuser down, you need to set yourself up for alternative pathways in and not just say, we're going to bank it all in the final 15. You should be setting up maybe even 15 seconds earlier than that to try and give yourself enough time.
I didn't even know the IO scanners caught off the detectors at this point, because they do alarm. I actually never thought of it like that. Kind of sick. With nearly a minute left on the clock here, AMP coming under some heavy fire here. It's essential that he preserves his spot on the front desk area, because once you lose your life there, that essentially opens up all of Banana, and then eventually the hallway that leads in the site and elevator. And it's all a disaster that you just want to avoid at all costs here. But for Space, yet again, I told you, you can never count him out until the game's over. He goes big with 2. Spear entry now gone. The man that was assisting him now gone. One of your win conditions in the case are now let loose.
What about the caster blessing? I think you got some sort of power here. I think Space will take it. 2 kills. 100 seconds to go here for Akron as they've got every bit of information to work with, and they don't need to step out. Kansas State still only on the ground level, haven't gotten access to really anywhere else. Kosa is just roaming around, and why not? As the shotgun has the SMG, and Space will be no more. 2 kills will be all they get here in this round, but Silo's got the initial trade, and boy, Worm is nice at least to have left, as you have the Grim, you have the chip damage. But how are you even supposed to go about this? You only have a minute left to go, and you've only got 2 players standing.
You hope to God mistakes are made. Doesn't seem so. There's only 2 bodies left. The solo's below. Everybody else is attacking upstairs. There you go. I feel like one player has learned as they have both rotated into the main lobby. But this is something about the adaptive team that we were talking about. They're consistently looking for avenues to force mistakes. That's exactly what they're going to do. Kosa gets him low, so Silo can just swing on down from the top ropes and take care of anybody who swings into his teammate's path. An adaptive round for Akron. A good try by KSU, but yet again, the same result remains. 4-1, Akron take the win.
Really looking good after that initial loss against KSU. It feels like they just have so much control. And again, the game plan there for Kansas State was to try and work off of the Monty, to try and play an entry spearhead, and when that falls along with Jakron, when you're down 2 players, and especially with Akron not only having the basement, but also having that second floor control, you just don't have the space or angles to really fight your way back. So this time around, we'll have to see what they do, bringing the Thatcher for Akron. This could be one that ends off the half 1-5 and puts yourself on the control side of the attack to try and finish this series out.
This is the round that dictates if we're looking at a comeback or if we're literally just looking at the end of the series.
10
Because
seconds remaining.
5-1 is very different for 4-2, and that comes from both the mentality
5 seconds to
aspect
go.
and the physical aspect of the game. The snowball effect is too great to come back from when you're down 3 maps, or 2 maps in this case, and you're down in rounds as well in the halftime. It's just not ideal considering this is your map pick. Kansas State need this 2-4. They need to do it here and now, and it's ideal that this is on the site that they've won previously. Hope the miracle could come true.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser. Attackers
They're gonna
have
need it.
recovered the diffuser.
This is their map pick, but it looks like Akron in control once again. They're going to try and play fast. Uni's running in, but will get demolished. It is just the entry utility. Kosa will be able to headshot away. Yao Ming gets the finish. No res. Uni's down. Uni's dead. Kosa has already got a double kill. Jakron is also down to minimal HP, and the entry has been denied. Akron has shuffled away the early aggression, and they are up 2 players.
Shredded with that MK2. Worm, though, getting his team back into it, finding that refrag. But as you mentioned before, casualties, too many to come back from, especially when you try to challenge this man in stock. You're going to have to deal with not checking your corners. A good old case of Siege 101. And Drakon is going to pay the price, whether he was low or not. He was going to meet his maker there. And he's waiting to go big yet again. Silo with 1-2. Can he find that third? Just a quick peek, and he will be shut up by Frank. But still, 3 bodies left. Plenty of time, but no case, no opportunity, and many mistakes being forced out here as Kosa is going to continue to give out the live pangs and is going to go big with that MK2, but Plex beats into the punch. 5-1 is that score line. Whether KSU like it or not, they're 1 round shy away from falling on bank.
And that's the round that KSU tries to change it all up. I mean, they try to go uber aggressive. They try and go for a quick entry, but it just doesn't work. Akron has scenarios planned for plans A, B, C, and D all the way down through X, and they were ready to execute on that one. Akron 2 rounds away from not only a map win, a series win, also a Division 1 championship trophy.
Man, I really wanted to see that work because we were talking about that curveball so frequently and it just couldn't happen. I like the idea, but it happened too late. If this had happened on Layer or maybe even Chalet, we could have seen the snowball effect be prevented before it took its full form, and now you're seeing a good old case of the flow state from Akron. KSU had the good idea, almost worked out here, but they didn't account for the destructible ingredients. Kosa with the MK2, and the overall 1v1 ability from each and every Akron player. No matter the operator they're on, they all have the capabilities, and KSU are still missing that one nugget that would help them get themselves on the board more often.
Just feels like they're missing a piece, a cornerstone. And again, this is a Kansas State team that you give them credit. They were dominant throughout the playoffs. They didn't drop a single map on their way here. And yet they have to face off against Akron here in the finals, who are just so good, so practiced. And they make them force the mistakes. For Akron, they move to this attacking side, and although we often say the defense is in control, I feel like with Bank you have so much versatility and ground to work with that Akron may just run away with it.
Uni wants to spawn peek and is going to do so on the second attempt here. Now, an Akron player seems to know it. Aim key from the top ropes, and LeBron's on a car with a DMR, and you know how the tail goes. Say goodbye to your warden. Say goodbye to any form of holding down blue. Now you're going to have to deal with a deployable. What is this? Aim key takes care of the second player. A deployable shield. Dracon's just moving in and around open area. Now Aim key looking to isolate the one here. Just to give him a ring around the rosy while he waits for his players to come and help him out here. Kosta's going to take care of Frank in the meantime. Space is walking down Marble. Aimkey's going to need that help as he'll get that kill of 1v5. Aimkey given a second chance at life, and Worm was AFK. Everyone's dead, and we are one round shy away from that match point. Whether Worm likes it or not, this round is over.
Amos has got you. This is a 1v5, and we'll go for a little bit of pre-spray action, but catching the backside here, catching the feed, and light them on fire. A flawless round from Akron. They are one round away from winning it all.
How did Aimkey find 2 kills on that? I was excited. I thought somebody was hiding behind Kansan desk, but no. Usually when you see such an aggressive push upstairs or a hold upstairs, you expect somebody to be playing Kansan, somebody close on the open area hatch, and the other one all the way deep, whether it's in kitchen or near the desks or the cubicles that oppose the window. No, and no. 0 for 3, as KSU now are trying to get aggressive, but again, a little too late, as Akron have adapted, they have counted, and now they're on that match point, only dropping 4 rounds in 3 maps if they win it right here.
Bomb located
So
by
much
attackers.
consistency, so much parity in their different attacking looks. And Kansas State, it's got to be perfect from here on out. If they want to see a 4th map, if they want to see their way out of this one, if they want to try and hoist the trophy themselves, they've got to do something about this Akron speed, and it's such differences from the defensive side. Akron, they play methodical, it feels like, on that defensive side, and almost on the attacking side, it feels like they kind of play stupid good, where they're just rushing at your face, but they're good enough with the aim to trade off each other, to get those early kills, and to find themselves in unlikely scenarios.
I now have taken it back. They are not very nice in the all chat, as you can tell. There is just shots being thrown. People are saying things maybe not so nice, but maybe it's warranted considering I'm looking at a Cav in the Big 2025. Now, there's a lot to do here, and with this roster, I don't know what they can manifest to result in a round win, because they just need an IQ for the EDDs, or you just need a Twitch drone to find them. That's exactly what's going to happen. And to deal with this Cav, you need to get a red ping, and Deimos is right on her. So I am very intrigued to see how this round will play out.
Akron has a chance to close it right here, that's for sure. And they've definitely got the utility to destroy any of those doorway traps. And along with that, they've got the players. I mean, Silo's on an 8-kill set. Kosa on a 6. Plexios right behind at 5. The chance for the rest of them to go big is there as a minute is off the board.
Now, I was really wondering why nobody has been using the new DMR that is now with Nook, Fauna, and Thatcher, but apparently it's not allowed to be used. But, wow, KSU with a change of pace. They'll take care of 1 and 2. The EDDs that were known, they were known that they were on the map. 2 of them will catch Kosa off board, and now you'll take care of space in the meantime. But an easy refrag is you'll take care of Worm and his Waken now. You have to deal with this Cav. Have you used that death mark? Have you checked your corners? Flex is getting closer and closer, but with this two-way cross being held, seems almost undeniable. Monty needs to go big here to help out his team, but the wallbang forces him to go down. Silo on the Batman repel, and finally KSU get that around. No way. Please don't win
Hold
this.
on.
No,
Silo on 9 kills.
No,
A
please.
chance with 70 seconds left to go. We'll pull back from the repel and reverse it. Everybody else is full HP. This would be a heart-wrenching way to lose it, especially because Silo doesn't even have the case. You need to get in, get that with 50 seconds left to go, and is just watching and waiting from the windows. I think if you're KSU, just bunker down. Don't give the man a chance.
I mean, it would be absolute cinema if this game started off with a 1v4 clutch and it ended off with a 1v4 clutch, but let's see. I really hope that we're not talking about VOD reviewing when you guys are down 3 maps here.
Oh.
It's starting to become more achievable. He thought he had downed her. He's going to lose a good amount of HP that he's going to need for the remainder of the round here, but able to isolate this option too. 20 seconds left, no case in hand as you mentioned before. So many tasks. Can you isolate the one? That's the ideal 101 to a 1v1 or a 1vx. And finally, KSU get themselves on the board, and Frank is going to make that known in the all chat.
A good work, realistically, though, from Kansas State in that round. And for Akron, a little sloppy, I think, trying to have a little bit of fun with it. The ability to play from that mid-ground and play especially from the cubicles, use the breakable holes, use the divergent angles as well, and just put them onto 2. They need 5 more on this map to even get them to, well, they need 4, I guess, to get to overtime and then try and win from there. But for Akron, still only need 1. The changes are not much, but they're going to try and go aggressive again.
Is Frank in the all chat like the mental chakra of doom or something? Saying he's been unleashed the second he starts talking, but you know what? At any point, if he can start talking, I will appreciate it because I need to see a 3rd. Actually, no, I need to see a 4th map. I need to. I cannot see it end on bank. This might as well have been a best of 3 because I don't like short best of 5s. I feel like the grand finals are always testing. I think it would be crazy if we brought in BO7s to see.
Ooh.
The casters
I
would
think
be
that
dead.
would be, yeah, casters would die. We need some new medication implemented for all of them, but you know, it'd be fun. I'm never a hater of more Siege.
Maybe we could bring back infinite overtime in BO5s, but again, the casters would hate
Yes.
that. But who cares? Who cares what the casters think? Watch the game.
Sure.
Akron 6-2. They have now currently dropped 5 rounds across 3 maps, which yet again, absolutely insane. And even 2 of those rounds that they've lost was due to a forced round deficit. So many things that they've been doing right, and not a lot that they've been doing wrong. Let's see if this is the round where KSU can give themselves a lifeline, or if it's going to be like every other Akron round that ends in anarchy and them winning the game. And it looks like it's going to be the former. Space goes big with 2.
And they're just running at him. Why not? Try and end it with aggression straight on the nose here. Diffuser is already being planted, and it's being planted dead in the open. They're going to try and drop to stop it, but a triple
God.
kill from Space. No quadra comes. Shotgun is there. Double him up, and it's a knockdown. Flexio's the takedown of a lifetime, and Drakon will have to do it all. 30 seconds and a dream for the series.
So much left to do here. Could this be the last round of the night? You're looking for that C4. I don't even know what you're looking to do with that C4. You need to be able to isolate this close body. Can't do so. You're going to lose the HP needed to be able to isolate it. Plex is just going to keep endlessly spraying. Will meet his maker for doing so. He's going to C4 himself. Won't give Akron the pleasure. And they will be your NECC grand finalists. Your champions. Your winners of the night as they only dropped 5 rounds across 3 maps.
The national champions sit in Ohio, and they do it once again. Maybe the expected result here today, but the Zips with a delivery unlike any other, and talk about how they opened it. An 0-7 finish, limiting Kansas State to nothing in their first and most volatile map selection, and then they do that. The speed that they showed on the attacking side, the versatility on the defense, and the way they work together, they deserve the title more than anything.
Such a one-sided affair, and after those maps, I don't even know what to say. I don't know where to start, but after Layer, I wanted to see something out of KSU because the way they were playing is promising. I respect the team that sticks to the playbook, and whether if it's only 1 page or 30 pages, they stuck to it each and every round. It was only nearing the end of the series they tried to switch it up. So I have so much respect for how KSU played. If they can just tweak to adapt to how Akron plays, I feel like they're a top contending team very, very soon, and they can play against teams like Fisher, like Cincy, like Akron, and they can show us what they have for the future of collegiate.
And I like that they were able to do that all throughout playoffs. Again, no discredit to Kansas State. This was a grand championship. They'll earn a second place silver medal for themselves. And what they did to get here, their style did work. They were forcing mistakes from so many other teams across the Division I landscape that this series was definitely unlike them. They've got a lot of footage to go back and review, and more specifically, those rounds that they won, what they can build off in the structure, and what they can build off for the spring, because boy, oh boy, although we're done with some extra action here for the Rainbow Six, we've still got action all across the rest of the week. We've got League of Legends tomorrow. We have got also some extra Overwatch on Friday. So lots of grand finals coming your way.
What a way to end off Rainbow Six. Unfortunately, I'm a Rainbow Six diehard fan, so I'm going to say I'll watch both of them, but it doesn't quite match how this series has went. But that is it for Siege in the fall season of NECC. And any final thoughts, Llama, before we dim the lights and head on to the good nights?
No, I mean, it was phenomenal being here. We've got to give, obviously, a massive shout out to all of the players, all of the coaches. These are not only just players that you get to witness their amazing action, but these are also students that are studying to pursue their next level of education. And a huge shout out to NECC for facilitating all this and all of the people that work so hard behind the scenes. Of course, our main producer, Time to Light, and all of our observers throughout the season that work so hard to bring the action and showcase it out to you guys. They do not get enough love. I know we just get up here to yell at some fun games. We get to be the faces of it all, but they truly are the heroes of the day.
100%. Thank you to all of you who watched from home, whether it was any sport. All of the support is much appreciated, and everybody on the production side sees you and appreciates you and does this for you. So without further being said, we're not going to let the moment go to waste. Have a great rest of your night. That's been the R6 season, and we'll see you guys later.